Lucky Boys Podcast.
We said this over and over till we're blue in our face. All protesters aren't bad. All cops aren't bad.
Yeah.
You know, but are there bad apples in those bunches? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they take advantage of the system that protects cops. There's a system that protects like qualified immunity, 50A. There is a system, that protects police. You have prosecutors that, their job is dependent on their cooperation with police. So police are not often held accountable for their actions.
No.
They're not. They're not.
No.
Right? So
it's almost like you have a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Not quite, but almost. Like I can't.
It's really hard.
I can't think of a normal civilian getting away with anything
that the police can get away with.
Right. Yeah. When you're talking about like murder. Right. When you're talking about injustice, like I saw a couple of videos.
They get a paid vacation leave.
They got a paid vacation leave. And I saw a couple of videos where they planted things in a guy's car. Because they one of my friends sent it to me. He's like, man, Will, I hope you talk about this on the podcast. So there you have it. You have it.
Yeah.
I usually don't do that, but it's my buddy. And he sent me a video. He says, yo, Will, you gotta look at this. And I'm looking at it, and they pull over this guy, get extremely aggressive with him.
Yeah.
And then they go, we're going to search your car. And in their camera is going, oh man, you find anything? No, nothing. And they're going, well, we have to find something. And they're getting desperate, and they feel like it's almost like, hey, mom and dad's gonna get mad if we got to do this. We got to do this real quick. So they're scheming, and all of a sudden they put like this little crumb of weed, and they find this little crumb, whatever, wherever it didn't even come from that person, but they had this little roach, and they just decided to break it up and then put it inside the person's jacket and go, oh, there we knew it. We have probable cause now, and they fucked them up. That guy was. Yeah. And he wasn't in perfect health. And it was tough to watch. It was really tough to watch.
And it's a scary thing when you said that, they were so desperate and they were scared. So who are they scared of? Are they scared of the police department, the employers that hired them? Are they scared of the police chief?
No, I don't think in that video, I didn't see that they were afraid of other people in blue uniforms.
Right.
It was more like, oh snap, if we don't get something for this and they decide to fight back or sue us, or put this out on camera, because the girl was recording as well, and put this out there, we won't have any reason. It's gonna look exactly like what it is. Right. It's gonna look like we just completely profiled.
Yeah,
which is exactly what happened.
And it's basically a stop and frisk, but because they had a car, you can say something like it wasn't stop and frisk. We had probable cause. We smelled weed.
Yeah, I mean,
and that is another thing.
We need to also
criminalize.
We also need to know our constitutional rights. And understand, what cops can and cannot do. And there's so many videos of just Americans, black, white, or whatever, who are just like, no, I'm not opening the window. I refuse to talk. This is, like I refuse to identify myself because am I committing a crime?
Right.
Have I committed a crime? No, you're stopping me under a suspicion of a crime, right? But was there a crime committed?
Yeah, but you get the wrong cop.
Of course you get the wrong cop.
You say that and get the wrong cop.
And get fucked up.
You're done.
You're done.
Even though you have your constitutional rights, and by law that should protect you.
Yeah.
Bro, but you get the wrong cop.
That's why like $1 billion goes towards like settlements. Like for NYPD, after their $5-6 billion budget, about $1 billion is for settlements for these kind of things.
So it's actually allocated for that specific reason.
Yeah, our
$1 billion.
Yeah, the number I heard was 300. Yeah, the number I heard was 300 million. But talking to a cop, they told me that it was really $1 billion. So
specifically for lawsuits, because they know it's going to happen.
There's that many lawsuits.
Yeah,
there's $1 billion worth of lawsuits.
That's where our taxpayers' money.
There's $1 billion worth of lawsuits.
So we are paying for police brutality. We are paying to allow this to happen.
But what's concerning is there's that much brutality. There's $1 billion worth of brutality.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, a lot of the settlements that you don't hear about.
Anywhere else in the world, any other company in the world that has to allocate $1 billion of its capital to an issue that's easily controlled, they would do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because we are paying for it,
We're paying for it. So they don't care. They don't
They
care.
don't care.
It's not their money. It's they're using. I mean, this is.
so what
this
if
is the
you held
problem
them
with-
accountable? What if you gave them, or let's say like you gave them a raise? Give them a raise.
Yeah.
Their hard job is difficult, and I believe that police officers should get paid more. Actually,
Yeah, of course. We should have qualified people
Right.
to be like police
you pay
officers.
them more,
Yeah.
and you put more training. You invest in that institution more.
Yeah.
However, when they fuck up,
But that institution was, also developed to police, like the divide, police the races.
Right.
During segregation era.
segregation. This is where it came out of and developed. And when you talk about like defunding the police, it seems like getting rid of the police or whatever, right? Or abolishing the police, which is getting rid of the police, right?
which I think is not smart.
Yeah, well, because
would you want to live in a town with no police officers? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, it cannot be like
That's too extreme.
It's too extreme because it's the air that we breathe. We understand policing, we understand prisons, but this is not how it was before. This was like, it's still a recently newly created phenomenon, right? So
having no police?
no, having police.
Oh, okay.
Anything against that, kind of like we're gonna have all these defenses. There are good arguments for it. It's just you have to hear them out. You have to be willing to just listen. Before putting up your defenses about why it's whatever. And I think we should be able to have conversations with people that have different viewpoints. To broaden our perspective and make more informed opinions. All right. So defunding the police sounds like completely getting rid of the police, right? But what it really means is like we're overfunding the police, and we need to take those resources and bring them back to other institutions that we've already defunded, like healthcare, like education,
Schools, yeah.
And mental health,
So
social
you
services.
don't think that defunding the police will harm them?
Harm who?
The police department ability to do their jobs?
No, because they're overfunded. There's no reason. There's no reason why our police are militarized.
Okay.
And they have a budget, and most of the time when it comes to year end and they had not used their budget, they'll spend it overspend on things that they don't need to make so that they can justify their budget for the following year.
Yeah.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Right. So as we put more restrictions on police officers, and it's almost like, and some people would argue that it's almost like we're defunding them and we're putting more tighter guidelines and restrictions for police officers. There's an argument out there saying if we do those things, we're essentially asking police officers to go into a boxing match with both hands tied behind their backs. It's a fight that they're going to lose. For example, right now, what's going on, at least what's been reported, crime rate has been up significantly across America. And in New York in particular, where we are, shootings, murders, crime has gone through the roof. Gone through the roof since all of this happened.
Yeah.
Where people are just committing crimes and the criminals are not scared. They're not scared of the police. They don't even think they're going to show up half the time. They're like, all right, cool.
Well,
they're having a field day with this.
Well, like if you look at the looting that happened during the protests, right? The looting, like the protesters were peaceful protesters protesting all day, right? And a lot of peaceful protesters go home, and then you have these looters, these opportunists, many of them that came from out of the state, out of New York. Sure. To come but you had cops all around, but they didn't stop they were witnessing it and they didn't stop it.
Right.
So, I mean, what good are they if they're not stopping this?
The actual crimes that are happening.
Yeah, that are happening.
But that's the thing. And that's what Kenny was alluding to in our previous podcast is that the tighter restrictions we put on, they're going to feel some type of way. And they're going to go, you know what?
Then they should be fired.
That's
their job.
You get what you asked for. Well, here it is.
Yeah,
just for example, like what happened at the Wendy's with, what's his name? Rayshard
Brooks.
Yeah. He the person that was murdered by the police officer, there was a tussle, and then one thing led to another, and things escalated quickly, and the police officer shot him, and he died.
Yeah.
Right. That area, criminals were able to burn down the restaurant Wendy's. Right? Was it a Wendy's?
Yeah.
They
burned it down.
They burned it down. No repercussions. Right. They were able to do a lot of other crimes in that area, and when 911 was called, no police showed up.
Yeah.
And they're seeing that in different pockets of ghetto neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know, the non-affluent ones.
Yeah.
Right.
There are neighborhoods that want more policing because of the crime there, you know. But at the same time, there is over policing. You know, it's not black and white. That's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of nuances.
That's why we have to be careful.
Right? So you cannot abolish the police without having some kind of community guidelines. The police are just not well equipped, you know, with their 21 weeks of training.
But you know what's going to happen when you abolish the police, Lex?
Yeah.
You're going to have gangs.
Yeah.
That's the natural. Progression of things. And they may not start off as gangs.
Yeah, they're gonna start up as collective neighborhood watches that turn into gangs.
Exactly. You know, now you have to pay taxes to them. Yeah. Now you owe them. Now those people are gonna have a sense of power.
So abolishing and defunding does not defunding is like a part of abolishing. You know, defunding just means, you know, taking less of taking much of the funding that they have, the overfunding that they have, and bringing it back to educational services, to mental health services, to a lot of the social services that cops are just not equipped to handle. You know, their 21 weeks of training are not really equipped to handle like some
but they're going to feel some type of way.
That's
crime is up. I mean,
they can feel some sort of way, but they're like, the fact of the matter is that they're not able to handle a lot of these situations. They're just not. Their first response is to pull out a gun and shoot. Meanwhile, you know, we should that's not the.
I have to agree and disagree with both of those points. I agree that a lot of police officers aren't trained. I totally agree with that. For certain situations that normal de-escalation would be a normal route. Most of them are very aggressive.
They're very aggressive,
They just move towards that route right away. However, I've also seen police officers where, I mean, because it's a tough job, man.
It is a tough job.
You got to be a psychologist. You got to be a judge sometimes. You got to, because you got to hear the story, make out who was wrong, who was right.
That's why you need to get them like
the qualified individuals to do something.
Yeah, because I've seen police officers, right? First-hand experience. When I was a kid, police officers came over to my house, and there was a big fight in my house. I mean, the police used to come over to my house regularly as a kid because when you know we get into fights among my family, get really loud and arguments, and people call the cops on us. So they would come over, but you know, a couple of times we had a good police officers where they sat down, spoke with us, listened to everything, de-escalated, told us to chill out. I mean, and I know that's not the norm, but
it's not the norm.
I want to.
Those are the good cops. Those are the people that should be maybe doing that.
Right.
You know, their function in society, in the community, should be doing that.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I mean, is that should be part of the training though?
Exactly. That's my point.
It should be.
I feel
it could be part of the training.
Instead of hiring individual psychologists to be on the scene.
They're going to show up because at the same time, you need someone that's able to be aggressive if needed. Because let's say if you get called into a situation like that, and that's my problem, where they go, oh no, we got to get these people to handle this because the cop's not equipped for it. Wait, time out. Because a lot of the times those situations can escalate where you need the cops. You know, so I think a police officer needs that Swiss Army knife training. They need to be kind of like the jack of all trades. They may not need to be the master of any of it, but they do need to be the jack of all trades. And that's why I'm all for police being trained more from a psychological perspective, from an emotional control perspective, from a fighting perspective. Because a lot of times if you don't know how to fight, the first thing you're going to do is try to knock the other person out immediately. But if you know how to fight, you're just controlling that person because you're really confident in your physical attributes and what you're able to do. You don't go right for the kill shot right away, right? You know how to de-escalate physically and make someone go, okay, chill, on some big brother shit. You know, if your big brother fights you, you know, you have a little brother, you never try to kill him off the bat because you know you got him.
Yeah.
You twist his arm a little bit, make him go, okay, you got it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I'm all for that, but to strip
reasonable.
police, but to strip police away from a lot of these things, I think it's very dangerous because I've been out there, I've seen it firsthand. And a lot of these situations may, on its surface, may not appear to go, oh, that's something someone else should handle, not the police officers. But what you don't understand is that it could be a situation that the police may need to be. Maybe it's a psychopath. Maybe it's a motherfucker with 50 guns in his car. You don't know that. You don't know that. You can't just call social services because then social services won't be able to equip with that. And if they're confronted with a criminal, I could tell you something that's really bad is going to happen on the other side. If they see some evidence, they're going to call police. They can't hold them. They don't have weapons. They're fucked. Therefore, kill the witnesses, right? Either that or you witness something and now the suspect got away. And now they could do more crime.
You know, I think it's all reasonable. The problem is just the conversations are not being had because people are stuck with one set. You know, if you're not, for what I believe in, then you're the enemy, and I don't want to hear from you. You know, and vice versa. You know, and that's just a problem of our society. You know, it's just a real big issue where we're not able to have conversations anymore.
We're not able to have a healthy dialogue without attacking one another. Right? Because I agree with you completely on that. You know, I think we should have a healthy dialogue that's respectful. Right? Because what I see a lot is it begins with the subject matter that they're discussing. Then it snowballs into
personal attacks.
Why you like this and I like that, and then eventually it goes to personal attacks. Now you're not even debating or discussing the point anymore. You're talking about each other. You're trying to hurt each other.
Personal.
You're taking it personal. Now and now you got some serious beef, and then you're going, what in the world just happened? You know, and this goes along with everything.
We've lost touch of our humanity. You know, like I think we just don't understand like the real value and dignity of our own lives. You know, and that we attached it to certain issues and things, right? And that's how we form our identity, but we don't really explore the true value and dignity of our own life. And because we don't understand the true value and dignity of our own life, it's very easy to discount someone else. You know, it's very easy.
So you're saying like people don't value themselves. That's why it's like I see something egregious, like something like George Floyd who gets killed on camera, and to people it's like, well, you know, he was doing something bad, or that's what was the police supposed to do, you know, that type of thing. You know.
I mean, it's just a strange experience to like just to be a part of, to see where people are quick to disrespect another person, not give them any respect because they have a different political viewpoint, social viewpoint, or perspective, and instead of just like, okay, I understand you, you know, I may not agree with you, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna like shun or castigate you. You know, maybe we can continue to have these conversations and you know, come to some sort of common ground, you know, and move forward, you know. But the moment that we start to shame people, insult people, the point is lost. You know, and then we go back to our echo